Hello, my name is Victoria Hilario, and this is blog number 2 for Culture, Community, and Schools under Dr. Katz. So, this blog will explore the linguistics and the diversity of linguistics within the classroom in terms of different dialects and the competing ideas between what is standard English, what is non-standard English, along with the stigmas involved. So, in my own education to date, I do the best of my ability to communicate with eloquent standard English within the classroom. I tend to speak a more formal kind of English, standard English, in my English literature classes, since my second major is English. In terms of conversational language, my dialect is notably what I consider to be very Jersey. When I know I can be a little relaxed or speak with a little informality in a comfortable classroom environment, one will definitely hear the regional influence in my heavy pronunciation of my R sounds, my long I vowels, and saying words with the letter O sound, like in the word long, for example, as Lawng almost. Long. Therefore, my dialectical form of English can be identified as a regional dialectic North Jersey sort of English with distinctive vowel sounds that identify it as such. However, I consider myself to be somewhat bi-dialectal. From growing up in a township that is basically 98% white, mostly comprised of Anglo-Saxon and Italian descended people, I made it my first priority to just immerse myself into different cultures college had to offer. Even before college, I found myself getting along very, very easily with Black Americans. Seton Hall has only made me more bi-dialectical. I absolutely love and appreciate many aspects of Black culture to the effect where I understand and communicate Black English and even use the slang when I am, with my crew, From being involved with organizations such as the Martin Luther King Student Association, Poetic, and Soldiers for Christ, but all these clubs having deep Black cultural roots, I have grown accustomed to certain mannerisms, communicative social cues, and most importantly, speaking with my Black friends what I have observed so far to be Black English. Of course, I remain who I am. I am always myself, but I have no trouble adjusting my language to different circles of friends, given the environments I am in at certain times. According to the text, it says, by possessing the skills to speak in more than one dialect, an individual may have some distinct advantages and may be able to function and gain acceptance in multiple cultural contexts. So I feel the Black community and the people I have interacted with so far has accepted me, mostly because I embrace their culture and I adjust my language, my tone, my rhythm of speaking in general. I just think the most prominent thing is that I am so comfortable in doing this, to the effect where being someone proficient in Black English has become a regular practice of mine when I am interacting with my circle of Black friends. So therefore, I think it's imperative to realize and recognize that I am always implementing the ability to adjust my language when talking to different audiences, such as professors, employers, various circles of friends, my family, my sister, my relatives, my collegiate peers, and even strangers, as in when traveling to different areas of the country or in even different regional parts of New Jersey. My social norm of my social norm of dialect of conversational English will always be the regional dialect of Northern New Jersey Standard English, and what this local area considers standard English, because it varies. It definitely varies region to region. It's a locality thing. But I believe it's important to possess a comfort level and openness to communicate with diverse people in terms of their diverse uses of language. One of my friends here at Seton Hall, Brandon, he's a black student athlete from Savannah, Georgia. When he is being interviewed by the media after a game, he speaks a little more formally than when we hang out with friends, and this is something I have observed. Brandon has somewhat adjusted to what I think the Jersey style of dialectal English is, but sometimes you can definitely hear the southern dialectal English when he speaks without the gliding vowels and with a lower tone. We're from the same country. I mean, I'm from Jersey, he's from Georgia. It's the same language, it's English, but sometimes I don't even understand what he's saying sometimes. Yeah, so that goes to show that, just because you're speaking the same language, that doesn't mean you're gonna understand each other because of the dialectal differences. But in general, listening and understanding other people's English dialects makes life so much more interesting. I believe people in general are attentive to and fascinated by dialects not heard every day in the local scene. I mean, interacting and gaining these experiences with other people only make life more interesting. And this is what excites me, yet at the same time, I won't lie, makes me a little anxious as a future educator. I expect to work quite sufficiently with students who represent diverse linguistic patterns and different grammar usage. However, as a future teacher of English and the language arts, I believe my job will be a little trickier because I am supposed to do my best to teach the formal standards of English, as the text notes, the written language that is typically found in grammar books. Now, few English-speaking people speak in this norm, therefore I could only imagine it to be rather difficult for ELL and ESL students to engage in what I would like to have as high-level academic situations within my classroom, because I'm someone who loves the complexity and the intricacies of the English language as found in notable literature. And my kinds of classroom discussions and lessons as a teacher will heavily implement and rely on language proficiency. So there's a question of what balance, what usage, what space is there for non-standard English, or what space is allowed by standard English within an English classroom, if that's the subject. So that remains one concern of mine, although I will do my best to accommodate the learning needs of all my students, because that's just part of the job of being a good teacher. Like I said before, I value the exchange, the process of ideas and share. I want my students to be comfortable and engaged. There's nothing wrong with using their own dialects of speaking a language we all speak, which is English. And I think it's just exciting to be able to let other people hear each other's ideas in their different in the different ways they speak English. It's a beautiful thing. However, at the same time, I will still not force, but help my students improve their writing and write in a professional sense that will get them where they set their goals to. And that is the very type of English that is found in grammar books. If you want to get somewhere higher in life, to a certain job or profession, it will, standard English, especially in these high academic environments of the learning classroom, the learning individual will need to learn this in order to thrive in America. Okay. Lastly, standard English is very important in the classroom in terms of establishing common ground in which all my students can communicate and understand one another in the process of exchanging and sharing intellectual ideas. I could not agree more to the statements that standard American English is a composite of the languages spoken by the educated professional middle class. However, I'm not going to be like Teresa Roberts, who, as stated in the text, she disgustedly demanded a request to use the restroom from the little girl to be asked in proper English, which resulted in scarring emotional consequences for this little girl, whose identity is kept unknown and anonymous. I believe there is plenty of room for students to use non-standard types of English, especially when conveying ideas during interactive student and class discussions over text. As long as my students strive to write and converse in standard English, then they can converse in non-standard English dialects as long as there's common ground and connection. It's the connection between all these ideas in each other's minds that I value the most as an English teacher. That's part of the analytical process, the critical process of looking at literature and building this appreciation and this wonder for human experience as we look through different sources of literature. But of course, as an English teacher, my job is to help improve communicative and writing skills in the English language. And, as I said before, I think it's a beautiful thing that students are exposed to these differences in linguistics. But there's definitely that part of me that will still push my students, push all my students to write in that formal level of English that is taken as professional and in fact just understandably universal. It gives many people something to think about. I've been thinking about it all week actually. So this was my blog for this was blog number 2 over chapter 7, and thank you for listening. I will conclude this entry. Bye!